Hey everybody, Norm here with my buddy Joe Bonamassa, and we always like, and this brown thing over here, he always loves to come in and show us some of his new acquisitions, and this is a very unusual, probably 55 or maybe 56 with a factory tunematic in factory brown with the brown knobs, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's a guitar that was most likely made for an employee for a trade show, and like all of us that collect stuff, when you start seeing different colors show up, you skeptical at the beginning, but when I saw it, it all just kind of added up and made sense, And it's a very cool guitar, and it sounds great. And I thought I'd bring it in today because tomorrow I'm taking the now infamous Flying V that I purchased in I think August. We're taking it back home after 57 years of it being out in the world. Right? Yeah, in Indianapolis. We're going back to Arthur's Music, and it should be a fun trip. The daughter and the granddaughter still run the shop. Amos Arthur's unfortunately passed on about 10 years ago, and I just thought, before the start of the U.S. tour, which starts on Monday, it would be a cool thing to do, just bring it back to a mom and pop shop that sold it originally. So.
And there's been a lot of press on that guitar with Reverb on Reverb. There's a big story about it, and I sold it, and I didn't even realize myself its history.
Right.
And when I sold it to Joe, it had a white input jack. And, because I didn't really know, I said to Joe, probably the black one broke and somebody put a white one on. Well, there's a picture of it in 1958 with that white input jack, the way it was. So apparently the first batch had some.
Yeah, I mean, the Pete Townsend Flying V now Rudy Schenker has is a black pickguard white input jack. This guitar, unless you had that photo of Kenny, which is the guy with the cowboy hat pointing up into the sky.
That was on the roof of the store, by the way.
Yeah, and unless you had that photo, you really couldn't prove either way whether that, the pickguard was right. I knew that, and then the white input jack is obviously correct. And it's a cool piece of history, and rare on a Flying V to have provenance all the way back, with pictures. So it's kudos to my guitar tech Mike Hickey who figured it out.
Yeah, well, and not too bright of me not knowing the whole history, but I'll tell you, Joe is like my nephew, and I love Joe, and I'm really happy that he's got the guitar, and you're going to make that thing work for its living, right?
Well, Monday it makes its live debut at the show in Wilmington, Delaware, and I'm going to tour with it and play it, and that's what it's for. The only thing I'm going to do
functional art.
Exactly. The only thing I'm going to do is put strings on it and maybe find a better case for it, because the original case is held together by a very rare belt, by the way. You could get probably $25 for the belt alone. Yeah. But
that would offset some of the price.
Yeah, exactly. I probably should sell the belt. No, it's a really cool guitar, and I can't thank Norm enough for having the faith and trust in me to have something, pass something on that you've had for over 40 years. So it's been. I
love the fact that it's going to be used, and
oh yeah.
What they all should be. I mean, some people just put them in their glass case or something, and that's something I preserved whatever I could of it, and now it's on you.
It'll be used, not abused, and the whole thing is, like the more you use a guitar, the better it plays and sounds. If you take care of it.
Too.
I haven't broken one yet, so I plan not. I don't plan on breaking this one either. So.
And I was showing Joe, because we like to show each other our new acquisitions. There's one thing that I just got that to me is probably the most beautiful acoustic that I've ever owned. And this is a 1934 0045 long scale. I am so in love with this guitar. This is the last word in 00 acoustics. It is so beautiful, and it's long scale like an OM, bar frets. Joe, can you do the honors? Just play a little, few notes on that thing. So,
I to me the triple-O's, the few that I've played, they just have this bellowing sound. They're. Acoustic's not my first instrument. Electric.
Well, it sure sounds like it, but Joe plays everything.
This is the nicest example of this I've ever seen.
It's the nicest that I've ever seen. It is just so beautiful. It's hardly played, and it still sounds terrific. It hasn't even been broken in.
Yeah, I mean, for a 80-year-old guitar.
1934, it's the first year O 45s, and the very first few were OM scaling. Original hard shell case over here, which is equally beautiful.
You know, the amount of work that went into this. Somebody took pride in their work.
Absolutely.
This was made midweek, not on a Friday.
With love.
With love.
Well, Joe, thank you, buddy. I
Thank
really
you very much.
appreciate it. I always love it when you come in, and that Les Paul is out of control as usual. And Joe is a connoisseur of the finest of the fine, and
That's right. I use them, I play them, and I love them. And my whole rig now with the tweed amps and the Les Pauls, it's all pretty much technology that was before we went to the moon.
sure. And people buy art to basically look at it, or
Yeah.
you buy like a painting, or you buy a baseball card or a coin or whatever. These things make music. They're just something really special. I think it's the most valid collectible there is.
They're horribly addictive, by the way. Once you get into it, you can't get out.
Yeah, and cars. The problem now, cars are functional art, but the problem is that you got to maintain cars. Guitars are very low maintenance.
Yeah, you just got to put strings on them and play them. So it's easy.
Anyhow, the great Joe Bonamassa, my nephew,
Yep.
almost. Norm's Rare Guitars. Thank you very much for watching.
Cheers, guys.